All right, so first I'd like to say thank you to the people at the CCE, the Marsh family, the professors Elizabeth Bond and Professor Grayson for just helping me out with all of this and just really working well with me. So I worked at East End Cemetery this summer. I worked with the Friends of East End. This is a cemetery that's historically black and has fallen out of use, and as you can see, it's become completely overgrown. Now, as you can see, there is one headstone there in the picture, but actually there are many graves in this photo that you can't see the headstones of them at all. Maybe they're buried underneath these mounds of ivy. We don't know, we haven't found them yet. So, here's some facts about East End Cemetery. It was founded in 1897. It started falling out of use in the 1970s, but our last burial was there at 2002. That's one of about 50 graves that have been there that have been put in after about the 1970s, so it really hasn't been used much since then. The volunteer group, Friends of East End Cemetery, has started working there since 2013, but there's been other previous efforts that have just kind of fallen out of use and kind of given up to the growth. There's estimated about 13,000 people here, but we only have documented 3,000 so far. Hopefully we'll find a lot more, but so far that's all we have. This is a example of what I used to work with over the summer. It's our database. You can see it has a GPS coordinates. It has a link to findagrave.com, which shows you a photo of the grave and gives you a little bit of information about the person. You can also see we have first and last names and birth and death dates. Over further on the side, which can't be seen now, are the cause of death. We also have service information and the marker transcription. So one of my other projects over the summer was to work with all the veterans that were at East End Cemetery. This is a project that was specifically asked for by Donald McKeechin, our congressman. And so what I did was I gathered all of the veteran headstones into one big dossier that shows their need for service, so they're like how damaged they are, and also there's a map showing where each one of them are. Here's an example of the most common type of stone that we have there. It's just a basic like veteran headstone that has some minor stains on it. This is a very easy fixed problem, but you need funding to fix it, but that we don't have right now. This is one of our less common but bigger need. It's a stone that has fallen over but sunk into the ground. This is something that will be more of a cost to fix, but hopefully with his help we can fix this. These are very interesting. These are temporary markers that have no service information at all. We only know that they are veterans due to biographical research. We only know about 7 of these so far, but there could be any number of them more as we do more research. So this is a map showing where all the veterans are buried, and they're denoted by color due to what their problem is. As you can see, there's no permanent marker, which is the one you just saw, not set or fallen, heavily stained, fallen, sunk, or tilted, stained or rusted, or not damaged at all. And as you can see, there's only 13 out of 106 that are not damaged at all. That's pretty amazing to me. Now, as I worked with all of these markers, I started to notice there's about a gray background to these stones. I kind of assumed that this was normal, and that, as you can see, it's very stained, but I thought the actual color of the stone was gray. Until I went to Richmond National Cemetery, which is about 2 miles down the road, and it has all these beautiful white stones. These are stones that are kept by a maintenance team. They're power washed, the grass around it's cut, everything's nice, pristine. As you can see, this veteran has a tree growing in front of it and is not very clean at all. But as I was reading, I would see that all of these other cemeteries would be getting all this funding from the city, but that's because they're a public cemetery. When I was at East End, this is a private cemetery, so it doesn't get as much funding from the city. It can occasionally get grants. Right now, there's not even a clear owner to the cemetery, so they can't really give money to any specific group, because that would be kind of against the law and also be in favor of other groups that want to do the same thing. Here's a picture of Hollywood Cemetery, also very close. It's a very pristine, very beautiful cemetery, but it also is well kept. It's a public cemetery. This makes money through tours also. East End Cemetery is only about 16 acres and doesn't get that much funding at all because it's a private cemetery. So, as you can see the difference, there's a very big overgrowth. Now, this overgrowth is actually pretty easy to keep if you have the right tools, but it's also super explosive during the summertime. So, you need a constant team out there, which right now East End Cemetery doesn't have. It only works through about volunteers, and that, as I was reading, I'd see like the impact of volunteers is crucial. Right now, East End Cemetery is at this point because it has a core group of about 10 people that keep going out every week doing the same thing. And that, as I'd go out to do my data collection, I would see them all out there, and I would like talk to them and interact with them. And it was very like impactful to me when I would see them all out there. However, when big groups of people come in, that is when you can do the most amount of cleaning. I would always go out there, see not that many people, but one time in particular, I went out just expecting to see the same group of people that I always see, and I found like about 100 people. It was one of the most amazing things to me because I was just astounded by all these people with positive attitudes just to come and help out on this one thing that I've been working on all summer, working in like research labs, doing database searching, and just trying to like help out any way I can. And to see the amount of people doing the same thing as me was extremely touching, just to have it all come together in one giant like cumulative moment. So that's what I did this summer. I don't know if we take questions or anything, but.
We got time for a few minutes.
I have a question. Thanks for your presentation. Is this exclusively an African American cemetery?
Yes. Yeah.
The East End Cemetery?
Yes.
Okay.
Were black vets not allowed to be buried in the public?
I believe that it was pretty frowned upon, but there are examples of people being buried there. Some people may have been reinterred, so buried there later. But a lot of people, like we didn't even know that there were black African American veterans here when we started actually doing our research until we found the first few stones. Great job. Thank you.